Right. Not sure if you can hear me. Right. Let me see here. Let me see. Can you hear me here? Who can hear me? Let's have a look here. Um, welcomes your Sykes. Ida, welcome. Can you hear me, Ida? Let's see. Okay, awesome. That's awesome if you can hear me. Right. So let's see here. So Ida says she can hear me. Right. Let me actually I'm trying Facebook so kind of so Instagram has now made it possible so that we can live stream from from our desktop computers. So I'm actually trying it for the first time, right? So please bear with me. Um, Let me see. I just want to make sure everything is fine. That the sound. I'm not sure why this sound is not playing. Right. So my mic is okay. Okay, perfect. So let's have a look here. Let's go to welcome, Caitlin. Right. So today we're going to start. Today we're going to talk about different business structures, right? That's the goal of today's session. The Harley Nicole, welcome. So yeah, so today we're going to focus on business structures, right? Now, most people get confused. It's difficult. Ganesh, welcome. Most people get confused. People don't know. People don't understand the difference between an LLC and a sole proprietorship and an S corporation, a C corporation, and things like that. So today we're going to cover those things. So to put an end to all the confusion, right? To put an end to all the confusion. Justin, welcome. So today's, I want you guys to understand the difference between the business structures and to understand which one is ideal for your specific situation, right? So let's start with the, so we're going to start with what is an LLC, right? We're going to talk about what is an LLC, what is a C corporation, what is an S corporation, what is a partnership, and then we're also going to cover what is a partnership and which structure is ideal for your business. So those are some of the things that we're going to cover today, right? So let me see here. So those are some of the things we're going to cover today. Nurse, welcome. Is Sugabuga. Nurse Sultry, welcome. Welcome to you guys. Yes, awesome. So those are some of the things we're going to cover today. So let us start with the most common business structure that everybody understands, right? The most common structure that everybody understands is an LLC. So an LLC is basically you go to your state and then you form an LLC. An LLC, it means a limited liability company, right? Now we need to stop the confusion. I've heard people say LLC stands for limited liability corporation. No, they are not corporations. They are companies, right? So LLC stands for limited liability company, right? So you go to your Secretary of State, you form an LLC there, and that's all you have to do, right? Now, the way an LLC is taxed now depends, and that is something that's where the difference comes in, right? So the way an LLC is taxed depends, right? Now, so we're going to let's talk a little bit about corporations. Now, corporations are incorporated, right? And that's the word corporation comes from incorporation, right? So when you have a corporation, you become incorporated. It means you are formed, like you having a baby, right? So a corporation is a separate legal entity from its members, right? It's a separate legal entity from its members. So a corporation would have, usually multiple members, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1,000, as the case may be. So that's kind of what corporations are. Now, so we're going to look at just Brayon, welcome. Tennis Smith, welcome, right? Awesome, you guys are joining. Again, if you have questions, just let me know, right? So LLCs on one hand are formed by going to your Secretary of State. Now, corporations are formed, they are incorporated, and that's a difference. They're a separate legal entity from their members. Those are corporations, right? Now, corporations and LLCs have members, right? But you have to be careful here. Now, when you have an LLC, the way the LLC is taxed depends on a number of factors. Now, but before I go to LLCs versus corporations, right? Let's talk a little bit about partnership, sole proprietorships, and then we're going to talk about partnerships and so on. But to avoid confusion, let's just talk about the corporation first. Now, these are the most complex. Welcome, Tenny, Mika, right? So let's start with the most complex business structure. Now, the most complex business structure really are corporations. Now, corporations, like I said, they have shareholders or members. When you are a shareholder of a corporation, you are entitled to what we call dividends, right? Now, one of the reasons why people do not like corporations is because of the double taxation, because the corporation has to pay what we call corporation tax, and then the dividends also become taxable. But the truth is that for every business structure, you need to understand why you want it. Is it best suited for your business goals? So those are the questions that you have to be able to answer. Are you with me? Yes. So I get excited to talk about these things. I love it. Right? So by the way, who is blessed so far? Anybody is blessed so far? Right? Is anybody blessed so far? Anybody blessed so far? Right? Deja, welcome. Anybody, if you are blessed, just give it a thumbs up, right? Yes. So beautiful. So those are corporations. Now, generally, corporations, whenever you see maybe Joe Blocks Inc., right? INC, it means it's a corporation. It's incorporated, right? So those are corporations. You understand? So it's so important to understand these differences. Now, generally, corporations are ideal for I'm going to specify a couple of circumstances under which you want to have a corporation, right? Number one, if you form a company and you know that at some point in time you are going to, if you have a business idea, let's put it this way. If you start a business and you know that at some point in time you are going to seek outside funding and maybe give people shares in your business, then ideally you want a corporation. Ideally you want a corporation. So under those circumstances, you want to form a corporation. Now, also, corporations are ideal for tax planning purposes. Corporations are ideal for tax planning purposes. Most tax strategists like myself would use corporations for different tax strategies, right? So, corporations are ideal for tax strategies because they give you that flexibility to use certain tax strategies to reduce your taxes. So corporations are ideal for that. Are you with me? And now, but that's a separate topic altogether, which we're not going to talk about, right? Now, so that's the thing. So now let's go to LLCs. Now, you have to understand that so within LLCs, when you form an LLC with your Secretary of State, you have to understand that how the LLC is taxed depends. And I'm going to make it easy for you guys to understand today, to clear that doubt once and for all, right? Now, so when an LLC is formed, if you have what we call single member LLCs and multi-member or multi-member LLCs, right? Now, a single member LLC, obviously it means there's only one member. A multi-member LLC means you have two or more members, right? So when you form an LLC, if you are the only member of your LLC and you do nothing, that LLC is going to be taxed as a disregarded entity. A disregarded entity means that what? It's going to be taxed as a sole proprietorship. And that would go on a Schedule C. That's what a single member, that's what a disregarded entity means. So even though it is an LLC, the main reason why people like LLC is because of the limited liability, right? That's why they are called limited liability companies, not corporations. LLCs are not corporations, they are companies. There's a difference right there, right? So when you form an LLC and you are a single member, if you do nothing, that LLC is going to be taxed as a single member LLC, and that's the end of the story, right? Welcome, Arvin Love, right? So it's going to be taxed as a single member LLC. Now, if you have two members, right, and you do nothing, that same LLC is going to be taxed as a partnership. Now that's different. Now let me break it down. A single member LLC is going to be taxed as a disregarded entity, which means it's a sole proprietorship. And that goes on your Schedule C, right? Your individual tax return, Schedule C. Now, if you are a multi-member LLC or multi-member LLC, whichever way you want to pronounce it, whether is British or US English, is the same thing, right? You have two or more members. Now, if you do nothing, that LLC is going to be taxed as a partnership, right? Now, if it's going to be taxed as a partnership, you have to complete a separate partnership return, right? And partnership returns are more expensive than Schedule C's. That's how it is. And you have to fill, usually partnership returns are 1 month before the deadline for your individual tax return. So that is what we call a partnership return. So now, so somebody's going to ask me, okay, now let me talk about the last kind of structure before we talk about which one is ideal for your case, for your business, right? Jane, Tranis, welcome, right? So let's talk about which structure, the other structure. So if you have an LLC, it doesn't matter whether it's a single member or a multi-member LLC, you can elect to be taxed as an S-Corporation. Now that is where the magic happens. This is where the magic happens. The S-Corporation is the best structure to have, right? But you have to be careful. But that's where the magic happens. Now, so when you have an S-Corporation, so how do you get an S-Corporation? If you are a single member LLC or a multi-member LLC, you have to fill in Form 2553 and elect to be taxed as an S-Corporation. That's the election you need to make, right? There are time scales for you to make the election and things like that, right? So when you elect to be taxed as an S-Corporation, you are going to be taxed as an S-Corporation. Now, the other side is that you can, even though you're an LLC, you can also elect to be taxed as a C-Corporation. Now, that is another strategy that we tax strategists use, which you can use to get certain tax write-offs. It gets exciting there, right? So, LLCs give you a lot of flexibility, unlike corporations, C corporations and all those things, right? Now, the question is that now we've established that we have C corporations, we have LLCs that can be taxed as S corporations, right? Or partnerships or disregarded entities, right? So the question is that which structure is ideal for your business? it really depends on a number of factors. Like I said, I've already explained those who would want to use a C corporation, right? And those who would want to use, those who want to use a C corporation, or those who want to use, a partnership. So now let me make it simple. Partnerships are generally ideal for, so let's say that you start a business venture with your friend, right, or family member. Then ideally you want to do a partnership, or it really depends on a number of factors. You can also consider a C corporation, right? But C corporations are more complex, and you have to be strategic about this. But usually I would recommend, if you are just starting with somebody, with a friend or maybe a sibling, then consider doing a partnership, right? You still have the benefits of limited liability, right? Because it is a limited liability company, right? You have that. So, and then once you file the partnership return, which is March, you are going to get given a Form K1. I've seen people mess these things up, crazy things happening. So you have to be very careful, right? So if you are doing, like I said, a business with a friend or a family member, the ideal structure you want to have is a partnership. And you have to make sure that you get given a Form K1, and you are going to use that Form K1 to file your individual income tax return, which is in April, right? Now, those are, partnerships that's why they are called partnership. If you are going to partnership with someone, you can do a partnership. You can also do a partnership with a spouse, right? That is possible, right? But I don't do partnership with my spouse. It's all S-Corps, right? So let us look at the magic, which is a S corporation. Now, S corporations, that is what everybody wants, because they are pass-through entities. S corporations make you avoid self-employment taxes, and that is why the IRS wants to make sure that people are not trying to evade self-employment taxes with S corporations. But trust me, S corporations, that's one of the top business structures that you want to have. But let me tell you guys something. If your turnover, or let's say if your turnover is below 60,000, honestly, it's not worthy to have an S corporation, right? Why? Because again, one of the factors is that, Ryan Stress, welcome. We're talking about business structures. So what you join late, you probably have to watch the live after the session, right? So you just have to be careful. If you are, so let's go back. Let's rewind. So if like I said, if you have a friend, a sibling, a family member, you want to use a partnership with S corporations, you get the biggest flexibility, right? They are pass-through entities. You use them to avoid self-employment taxes. That's why you have to be careful. And like I was saying, you have to make sure that if you are choosing an S corporation, you have to make sure that your income is probably above $60,000 per year, right? So now let's go to the other, what we call sole proprietorships. Now, when you are a sole proprietor, you have to make sure that welcome Wari Blue, right? So why do you want why do you want to have a sole proprietorship? So a sole proprietorship means that what? Joe Blocks, or let's say, let me see, Janae decides to start a business today, or Deja decides to start a business today using their name, or Tenny decides to start a business today in his name, then he is a sole proprietor. Now, the issue with sole proprietorship is that, number one, you do not have that limited liability. Anybody that you owe money to can come after your personal assets. Now, that is the issue with sole proprietorships, right? That's the main issue. And then you have an issue of reputation. Imagine trading as Tenny Smith, trading with your name. You are just exposing yourself right there. You want to avoid that, right? You always want to make sure that you protect your assets using business structures like LLCs, right? and corporations. That's where you get some of the asset protection. Now, there are other asset protection strategies that you can use using those other business structures, right? Now, the question is, if sole proprietorships are this bad, when can someone use a sole proprietorship? I'm going to answer that question. Now, if you are just testing the waters, you are just getting started with a business, you don't know if it's something that you are passionate about, you don't know whether it's something that you're going to pursue in the long run, in that case, if you're not really sure whether you just want to test, then I'm going to say start with a sole proprietorship. Just start with a sole proprietorship. What do? You just decide to start a business, right? Say, I'm going to become a photographer today. I'm going to become a photographer today, and I start taking pictures, posting on social media, posting on Facebook, Instagram, promote myself. You just started a business there. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something. Let me tell you guys something right here. Everybody needs to have a business. Why? Because the tax code was written for business owners, not for W-2 employees, right? So when you have, if you are not sure whether you are going to do this in the long run, you are just testing the waters, you don't know whether it is good or whether it is bad, you don't know whether you're going to do it for 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, then just do a sole proprietorship. Now that will go on your Schedule C in April, right? Now, because guess what? To dissolve this business is nothing. What do? You just stop trading. That's all you do. You don't have to go through the complications of LLCs and corporations to dissolve and all those kind. It's a lot of headache. So if you're not really sure whether you're going to do this in the long run, then just trade as a sole proprietor, right? Now, you have another group of people who get paid through a Form 1099 NEC. 1099 NEC. So that stands for non-employee compensation. So if you are an independent contractor, you are going to get paid through a Form 1099, right? Now, a 1099 goes on a Schedule C. So when you have a 1099, you are going to be treated as an independent contractor, and that will go on your Schedule C, but you are going to get the same tax benefits that business owners get. You are going to get the same tax benefits when it comes to things like depreciation, when it comes to things like travel expenses and business use of home, using your home as an office and things like that, claiming tax write-offs on equipment, accelerating depreciation, and all those strategies. You can take advantage of those strategies even if you are getting paid through a 1099, right? So a welcome certificate. So which means that what? If you are in the healthcare, if you are a doctor, if you are a nurse, and you get paid through a 1099 NEC, so I always recommend, if you can be paid. So let me make it simple. If you have a job and they offer you, they make the offer that, do you want to get paid through a W-2 or do you want to get paid through a 1099? The best option, and that I'm going to recommend 100% of the time, is to get paid through a 1099. But let me say something. Let me say something here. Mike, welcome. So let me just say something right here. That's why I hate giving general advice, right? I hate giving general advice. I'm a strategist. I'm an expert I've been an accountant for 18 years. I've been an accountant for 18 years. I've been a business consultant for over 18 years. I'm a finance expert. I'm a tax strategist. So if somebody comes and says, Jerry, I've been given this offer, should I get paid through a W-2 or should I get paid through a 1099? I don't just go and answer and tell them that 1099 100% of the time. No, it depends on what they want to achieve. And I'm going to give you a good example. If this guy says that, yes, I want to buy a house next month, then this would be my advice. when you have, because you have to be careful. I'm going to tell him, since you want to buy a house 2 months from today, then get a job. Because when you are a business owner, in order to get a mortgage, they are going to ask for 2 years of your tax returns, because you are a business owner, right? They're going to ask for 2 years of your tax return, and they're going to look at your Schedule C, and you're not going to have it, and you're going to miss out on the property. So one of the things I say is that if you have a job and you're contemplating going into business full-time, I would recommend, if you want to buy a house 1 or 2 months from that time, just stick with your job, because when you have a job, it's so easy to get a mortgage. You can use that to achieve your goals, buy your house. Once you have your mortgage, you can now decide to get, you tell them, look, I want to get converted back to a 1099, right? But guys, trust me, 1099 NEC, that's the best way you want to get paid, if it is possible. So for the benefit of those who are just joining right now, I'm going to do a quick recap, right? So we have, let me just drink some water, please. So this is a brief summary of what we have covered for those who are just joining. Number one, you have the most complex structures are usually corporations, right? Or one of the most complex. Corporations, they have members, right? One of the issues with corporations is double taxation, but there are ways to go around that, right? But that's more about tax planning, tax strategies, right? Now, corporations are a little bit more complex. You're entitled to dividends, you pay yourself a salary and things like that, right? Now, the second one are LLCs. LLCs are companies, limited liability company, not corporations. People make that mistake. You get it, an LLC is a company. Now, how the LLC gets taxed, the limited liability company gets taxed, depends on a number of factors. An LLC can be taxed as a partnership if there are 2 or more members who have not elected to be taxed as an S-corporation, right? So an LLC can be taxed as a partnership, and an LLC can be taxed as an S-corporation, but you have to elect to be taxed as an S-corporation. An LLC can be taxed as a C-corporation, but you have to elect to be taxed as a C-corporation, right? Now, if you're a single member LLC, you can elect to be taxed as an S-corporation, or you can elect, if you do nothing, you just form an LLC, you are going to be taxed as a disregarded entity. That's a sole proprietorship, and that goes on your Schedule C. Now, like I was saying, if you are just getting started with a business, you are not sure whether it's going to be successful, you are not sure whether you're going to do it for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, right? Then you can just start with a sole proprietorship, because it's one of the easiest things to do. Very easy, and if you make a loss, you don't have to pay any self-employment taxes, but you can now use that loss to reduce your W-2 income right there. That's why everybody needs to have a business. And trust me, if you have a business, there are so many tax write-offs. You can claim mileage, meals, your flight tickets, and all those things, and you can use that to reduce your W-2 income. That's why everybody needs to have a business right here. You are not doing yourself a favor if you do not have a business. Trust me, right? So that's kind of a summary of the different types of business structures and all this kind of stuff. Now, again, one of the things I say is that if you have a real estate, you do not want to put real estate under S corporations, because there are so many. It makes things extremely complex, and it's going to work against you. So you want to put your properties through the LLC that's going to be taxed as a sole proprietorship, right? That's the advantage of having, but like I said, everybody needs to have a business. This is how you take advantage of the system and reduce your taxes, right? Nurse Nera, welcome. So I'm going to give an opportunity to anyone who has a question, right? We've covered C corporations, we've covered S corporations, we've covered LLCs, we've covered sole proprietorships, we've covered 1099, NEC, which one is ideal for which person. Or so I'm going to give the floor to anyone who has a question right now. So if you have a question, please you can just text it in the chat message there, and then I'm going to answer your question real quick. If you have a question regarding what we've covered, please just text it there. So who has a question? 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 Any question there? Right? Any question for me? Who has a question? I know we've covered a lot of things. Trust me, these things are quite complex, right? But that's why I do the live sessions, because look, this is a journey. We are in an era where ignorance is not an excuse, right? So anybody has a question? Anybody has a question? Any question, right? Any questions? Let me see here. Any questions? Anybody has a question? Let me see. Anybody has a question? Right? Anybody has a question? Let's see. Anybody has a question? Yes. Anybody has a question? Right? Any question on Schedule C's, C corporations, right? S corporations or partnerships. If you have any question, just let me know. I've come across right. What is that? What is it that is threatening $500 a day? Sugabuga, what's your question, please? Can you? I'm not understanding your question. I'm not understanding your question. Can you please rephrase it for me? I want to make sure that, obviously, as an expert, we don't just answer question. I have to be 100% sure that I understand your question before I can give the right answer. So I'm not understanding your question. Can you rephrase it? It says, what is? Let me see what the question is. What is that is threatening $500 a day? I don't know what that means. Can you rephrase it for me, please? Can you rephrase it for me, please? Let's see here. Right. I'm not seeing I can't see here, Right. All right. Okay. Right. I see what you mean. Right. Let's see here. Right. Let me see here. Again, this is a new system I'm kind of using, so just bear with me, please. Right. There's a chat overlay feature. I'm just trying to learn this new thing. It's also the first time for me to learn it. Right. I think right. So I know what you mean. Right. So I think you're referring to right, Shanae, welcome. I think you're referring to the actually what was that again? Actually okay, yes. Let me give you the right information right here. I think I've got it here. Let's see. That was with regards to let me see. I wrote down the note somewhere, right? Right. So I think it's with regards to the beneficial beneficial ownership reporting, right? The beneficial ownership information reporting. I think that's what you are talking about. Now, the beneficial ownership reporting is something new that's coming. Again, is from January. So if your LLC is formed from January, if you're going to form your LLC in January, then you have 3 months to comply with the regulation, right? So you have to provide information about who are the beneficial, who is the main owner of this business. So it's really a way for the government to try to deal with the issue of money laundering. So this is part of the anti-money laundering requirements to ensure that many people are not using shadow companies, right? They want to really know who is the owner of this company. That's what it's all about, right? Now, the welcomeness, S-Tech, right? So it's the beneficial ownership information reporting. Now, I'm going to have to do a live. So just bear with me. I'm going to do a live about this thing probably in January because that's the right time. As of now, nobody really knows where, so there is no portal where you can go and complete the form right now. So it's still a little bit of, it's a kind of a little, it's a bit of a gray area where nobody knows exactly, how it's going to work, how long the form is going to take, or what is the complexity of the form. Nobody has that information right now. But in a nutshell, it's one of those things that people would have to comply with, or you are going to get fined, right? Now, the good news is that if you intend to form an LLC, my recommendation is that you must form an LLC. No, you should form an LLC before the end of this year, because anybody who forms an LLC from the 1st of January will have 3 months to comply with the law. But if your LLC was formed by 31st of January this year, then you are going to get given 1 year to comply with the law. So you basically have till January 2025 to comply with the law, right? And find your bliss. Welcome. So that's why I'm going to recommend, if you intend to form an LLC, you have to do so by January 31st this year, so that you are going to have to January 2020. You basically have 1 year to comply with the law, right? Like I said, it's a bit of a gray area. Most people don't really, nobody knows where the portal is. Nobody knows how to complete the form. Nobody knows the complexity of the form and all those kind of stuff. So, but I'm going to have to talk about this in January, right? And I'll make sure that I have all the material ready so that we can cover it in depth, and then we'll take it from there, right? So anybody has a question, any other question, right? We were talking, for those who are just joining, we've covered C corporations, S corporations, partnerships, disregarded entities. We've covered 1099 NEC. So anybody who has a question, so if you have a business and you're wondering, did you make a mistake? Did you get it? It's because having the wrong structure, trust me, is going to cost you a lot in taxes. I'm just being honest. And let me just bless somebody right here. If you have an LLC and you are making over $60,000, you have to do yourself a favor and elect to be taxed as an S corporation. I'm going to repeat again for someone to be blessed. Now, this is one of the tax strategies. If you are making over $65,000 and you have an LLC, right? If you are a sole proprietorship, then you better get yourself an LLC before the end of this year. You better get yourself an LLC before the end of this year. And I'm just saying it very, very plain right here, right? So if you are making over $65,000 as a sole proprietorship, as a disregarded entity, which means you have an LLC, but you are taxed as a sole proprietorship, then you have to elect to be taxed as an S corporation. Why? Because you are going to avoid self-employment taxes. Why? Because you have to. So why do you have to do this before the end of December, before 1st of January 2024? Why? Because you have this crazy law. Well, it's not crazy, right? You have the beneficial ownership information reporting that would at least if you form an LLC before January 31st, you are going to get given 12 months to comply with this regulation, right? So you have to do yourself a favor. If you are making over $65,000, over 60, 65, you better elect to be taxed as an S corporation and save yourself thousands of dollars on on self-employment taxes. That's the best advice I can give to anyone here. Any more question? Any more question before I round up? I'm going to round up in the next in the next 1 minute or 2 minutes if there's no other questions. But any other question? I hope I've been a blessing. Now, have I been a blessing to you? If I've been a blessing to you, just give a shout out there, please. If I've been a blessing to you, just give a shout out. And then please invite your friends, right? Please share the video, invite your friends. People need to be blessed. People should not be making mistakes. We are in an era where information is key. There's no excuse to be ignorant, right? So any other question? So have I been a blessing to you, right? If I've been a blessing to you, right? Just put that blessing. Put that blessing, right? And then I'm going to think. Now, has anyone got a subject that they want me to talk about? Just a random question. Has anybody got a subject? If you have a topic that you want me to talk about, can you drop it there? Or you can send me a private text message for those. You have my number. Is for those who don't know, is 832-296-9110. 832-296-9110, right? So if you have a question, let me just put it there, right? 832-296-9110. Oops. Where is he going there? Oh, he's going the wrong way, right? I don't know what's happening here. 832-296-9110. I'm typing, it's going the opposite way. What's happening here? I don't know what's happening. Let me delete it. Right, let me see here. It's going the wrong way. Let's try again. 832. There you go. That's the right order. Right, I've texted it from my other business. Just ignore this. This is just showing me the wrong format from my. I don't know what's happening. Right. Anyway, that's fine. Perfect. Any more questions? So in the absence of any question, we are going to call it a day, and then I'll carry on with my own activities. Any other question? Any question? Right? Any question? Okay, no question. Right, okay, guys. You guys take care of yourselves. Have a blessed week, and remember, you can only do your best. Don't compare yourself with anyone. Stay on your lane. Set your goals. Set yourself weekly goals. Set yourselves daily goals. You're not competing with anyone. Just make sure that you set your goals and you achieve your goals, and that is what matters to you, right? So you guys have a great Sunday, and I'm going to we'll catch up next week. Wait, what is next week? Let's have a look. Sunday next week, what is it? I hope it's not. Let's have a look. Let's see what's happening Sunday next week. Yes. So on Sunday, that's Christmas Eve, right? Yes, why not? Yeah, we're going to have a live on Christmas. Who does not want to have a live on Christmas Eve? Who does not want me to have a live next Sunday? Right. Who does not want me to have a live next Sunday? Or who wants me to have a live next Sunday? Right? So yes, always interesting topics. Now, from 2024 is going to be season 2. Season 2, I'm going to be focusing more on specific topics. Season 1 of my Let's Talk About Taxes series. Season 1 really I've just been focusing on setting the foundation. These are foundations that you need to have that solid foundation. So we've just covered things that really everybody needs to know about. But for season 2, which is going to be 2024, I'm going to go into specific tax strategies. So I'm going to talk about specific things. And honestly, this is going to be for the benefit of those who have a form of business, right? I mean, if you have a W-2 income only, let me know. Then I can I can talk about tax strategies that W-2 earners can use. But we can talk about that, right? So beautiful. So, guys, it's good to have you guys. Next time, each time you come, please invite your friend. And then, look, everybody needs to be blessed. Everybody needs to be blessed. Nobody should be paying more than they should be paying on taxes. Uncle Sam is not your friend. And I always tell people, You are not more patriotic by paying more taxes, because wealthy people pay less than 3%. So paying more taxes does not make you more patriotic. Are you with me? Right? So I'm going to stop here, guys. So you guys have a blessed week, and we're going to catch up next week. Thank you.